For the first time in over 2 decades, a year has passed without Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, or Novak Djokovic winning a Grand Slam title. Has the golden era of tennis finally come to an end? Federer, the 20-time major champion, retired in 2022.
As we say goodbye to Roger Federer, the finest we've ever seen.
Nadal, though still competing at age 38, has been slowed by injuries.
Say goodbye to a legend.
Managing to play only 7 tournaments this season, including just 1 major. And while Djokovic, the 24-time Slam winner, is still a top contender at 37, even he showed signs of vulnerability.
Djokovic smashes his racket off the net post.
Despite winning 3 Grand Slam titles in 2023, Djokovic suffered a stunning loss to Alexei Popyrin at the US Open, marking the first time since 2017 that he has finished the season without a major title. So who will carry the torch?
Sinner.
As Jannik Sinner celebrated his first US Open victory, the landscape of tennis shifted. For the first time since 2002, none of the big 3 claimed a Grand Slam title.
Third man to beat Nadal at the French Open. He gave of his all, Nadal.
I've played some of the worst tennis I've ever played, honestly, serving by far the worst ever.
The era of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, which defined men's tennis for so long, appears to be over. But what comes next? Will we see a long, uncertain transition as players scramble to rise to the top, or is the new era already here? Enter Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. These 2 young stars have boldly taken center stage, splitting the 4 Grand Slam titles this year. At just 23 and 21 years old, respectively, Sinner and Alcaraz are setting themselves up as
His team in tears. Sinner, the
future leaders of men's tennis. Could this be the start of a new rivalry that defines the sport for years to come? But what happened to the players born in the 1990s? Interestingly, they've struggled to make their mark. After Sinner's victory over Taylor Fritz, born in 1997, it's clear that players born in the 2000s are dominating the scene, with a 6-0 record in Grand Slam finals against those born in the previous decade.
Yeah, it was a really tough match for me, I think.
Dominic Thiem, who recently retired from Grand Slam competition, and Daniil Medvedev remain the only major champions from the 1990s. Meanwhile, players like Stefanos Tsitsipas and Alexander Zverev, who once seemed poised to take over the sport, have been struggling. Tsitsipas hinted at burnout after an early exit. Zverev's performance has been underwhelming, particularly in high-pressure moments.
I played terrible. Just from the baseline, I mean, serving and...
Even Medvedev, still considered a major contender, delivered a disappointing quarter-final performance against Sinner. This year, men's tennis has entered a new era, and the question on everyone's mind is, are Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz the future of the sport? With 23-year-old Sinner claiming his 2nd Grand Slam title at the US Open, this season has made history. It's only the 3rd time in the Open era, and the first since 1993, that all 4 major titles were won by players 23 years old or younger.
Gentlemen's singles champion for 2024 from Spain, Carlos Alcaraz.
Sinner now solidifying his position as world number 1 in the ATP rankings, and the 21-year-old Alcaraz have split the season's major titles. Could this be the start of a thrilling rivalry that will dominate the sport for years to come?
Oh, yes! He was in some trouble.
What's remarkable is the journey each player has taken this season.
Goodness me, you don't see.
Sinner's path to glory began with his stunning performance at the Australian Open. Where he shocked tennis legend Novak Djokovic in the semifinals and then staged an incredible comeback in the final, rallying from 2 sets down to defeat Daniil Medvedev. His victory at the US Open now places him in elite company as the first player since Guillermo Vilas in 1977 to win both his first and second major titles in the same season. But will Sinner continue this momentum and dominate the next few years? Alcaraz, on the other hand, has had his own remarkable season. At just 21, he became the youngest player to win major titles on all three surfaces: clay, grass, and hard courts. He added Roland Garros and Wimbledon to his growing list of achievements, with his Wimbledon title defense being especially noteworthy. For the second year in a row, Alcaraz defeated Djokovic in the final, but this time it wasn't a nail-biting five-setter. He swept the seven-time Wimbledon champion in straight sets, solidifying his status as one of the most versatile and dominant players on the tour. But what does this all mean for the future of men's tennis? Is the era of Sinner and Alcaraz the start of a new chapter in the sport's history? With both players already etching their names into the record books, it seems likely. Alcaraz has joined the ranks of legends like Rod Laver, Bjorn Borg, Rafael Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic by completing the Roland Garros Wimbledon double in the same season, an achievement only a select few can claim. Can Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz dominate the sport like the Big Three did? During the peak of the Big Three era, between 2003 and 2020, Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer were nearly unstoppable. They won 63 of 76 Grand Slam titles, making their dominance feel almost unbreakable. In fact, there was a long stretch of 4 years where only one player, Stan Wawrinka, managed to break their hold on the US Open between 2016 and Dominic Thiem's win in 2020. Such a reign seems almost impossible to repeat, no matter how talented the new generation might be. John McEnroe, a legend himself, voices this skepticism. These guys can't possibly, can they, dominate like these last three guys have. He points out that Alexander Zverev, currently number 2 in the world, along with other players who have been overshadowed, might be driven to finally break through and win a major. It's clear that the hunger to dethrone the current top players could lead to some thrilling battles ahead. Interestingly, it's quite rare for just two players to split all 4 major titles in a single season. While Nadal and Federer did it in 2017, an unforgettable year for Federer's comeback, and Djokovic and Nadal did the same in 2019, this kind of split is not the norm. What is the head-to-head record between Alcaraz and Sinner? In 2024, Alcaraz extended his lead in their rivalry by winning both of their encounters. He defeated Sinner in the semifinals of both the French Open and Indian Wells. These victories were not just about winning, but also about facing a worthy challenger. Alcaraz himself acknowledged the difficulty of these matches, calling the semifinal at the French Open one of the toughest he's ever played. He praised Sinner's skill and the hard work of his team, highlighting the mutual respect between the two players. With Alcaraz leading their head-to-head record, what does the future hold for these two tennis stars? Can Sinner, known for his own exceptional talent, find a way to even the score? As their rivalry continues to grow, fans are left wondering, will Alcaraz maintain his edge, or will Sinner turn the tables in their next encounter?